To cover my girlfriend Winnifred Bailey's enormous medical expenses, I became a borderline mail streamer. During the day, I diligently worked as a coder in a cubicle. In the mornings and evenings, I dutifully served as a caregiver in the hospital. Late at night, I put on a mask, took off my outer clothes, and displayed my body in the live stream as if I were selling goods. Finally, before I completely wore myself out, her illness was cured. I bought flowers and a diamond ring, reserved a high-end restaurant, and was brewing emotions to invite her to spend a lifetime with me when a slap came my way. Winnifred Bailey stood up straight, looking down at me sitting in the chair, a cold smile curling at the corner of her mouth. "Charl Harrison, you're filthy." At that time, we did not know that this slap would change my life forever. Ding! Story Shots reminds you to click the subscribe button at the bottom right corner to read the full novel. When the slap landed on my face, I was completely stunned. A buzzing sound echoed in my head. The people in the restaurant turned to look because of the commotion. Their mouths opened and closed, whispering to each other, then revealing expressions of either sympathy or mockery. The burning stares of others made my face feel a scorching pain. After a long while, I regained my hearing. I heard myself ask in a trembling voice, "What happened?" I asked myself, from the past to the present, I had never done anything to let her down. Still pretending? Winnifred Bailey smiled and handed me her phone. On the chat interface, her best friend had sent a few screenshots from a live stream. "Winnifred, let me show you my new love. Those muscles are so sexy. Whoa. I can't control my wallet, just like I can't control my mind imagining doing deduda with him." Winnifred Bailey enlarged the screenshot and pointed to my hand, saying, "Don't think about denying it." There was a scar on the web of my right hand, left from a fight with a robber years ago, clearly visible in the picture. What was once a badge of honor had now become evidence of guilt. This is indeed me. I sighed deeply, knowing I couldn't hide it anymore, and confessed, "I lied to you, I couldn't raise that much money." Her exquisite and beautiful face was filled with anger. "Where is your dignity?" I forced a smile. "I know this isn't a respectable job, and I know in many people's eyes, it's just trading dignity for money. But I promised you, no matter what, I would keep you alive. To me, nothing is more important than your life." 3 years ago, Winnifred Bailey was diagnosed with a rare blood disease. There were less than 300 confirmed cases worldwide, requiring imported special medication and a full-body blood transfusion, with a treatment cost of at least $2 million, but only a 30% chance of cure. Upon hearing the diagnosis, I had to hold onto a chair to steady myself, while she cried out of fear. Over the past 3 years, Winnifred Bailey had cried countless times in my arms, begging me not to give up on her. She said she was only in her 20s, had not yet seen the beauty of the world, had not married, had not become a mother, and did not want to die. She said she wanted to grow old with me. She said I was the only one she had in this world. I looked at this girl who had been with me since she was 18, who had eyes only for me, and who was now crying like a pear blossom bathed in rain. And I promised her again and again, "Don't be afraid, as long as I'm here, nothing will happen to you." Promises were easy, but fulfilling them was fraught with difficulties. At that time, I had just graduated a year ago, but had already broken ties with my father. The inheritance left by my mother, my own savings, and all the money I could borrow amounted to only $1 million. The $1 million that an ordinary worker might never save up was spent in less than a year. But the treatment had to continue, and the bills kept coming. Helpless, I had to resort to unconventional means. Due to family influence, I had a bit of a macho attitude from a young age. I believed that a man should stand tall, should support his family, and protect his woman. This belief led me to take Winnifred Bailey away from her painful original family the day we established our relationship, and naturally, I took on the responsibility of her tuition, living expenses, and later, her enormous medical bills. My macho attitude made me more willing to take on responsibilities, but it also made it harder to put aside my pride. The moment the camera turned on, I felt my dignity fall to the ground along with my clothes, trampled underfoot. My chest muscles stood out, but my spine was invisibly bent. I imitated the stereotypical image of a borderline male streamer, posing seductively in front of the camera and speaking provocative and flattering words in a greasy, bubbly voice. In 3 hours, I earned $9.50. Looking at the pitiful reward amount, I laughed at myself. It turned out that what I had always been proud of, what I thought I could never lose, was worth only that little. But my woman was still waiting for me to save her. I forced myself to treat selling my body as a serious business. I spent a lot of time and energy researching competitors, audiences, and trends, thinking about how to attract traffic and place ads, designing my persona, props, actions, and scripts. In this way, I turned myself into an all-around studio. Finally, after a month, when I put on a dog tail and dog ears and howled a few times in a contrasting manner, the number of viewers in my live stream rose from single digits to double digits. With persistent effort and optimization, it grew to 3 digits, 4 digits, and even peaked at 6 digits. I became one of the most well-known late-night male streamers. The day before Winnifred Bailey was discharged from the hospital, I solemnly bid farewell to the viewers in my live stream, thanking them for their companionship over the past 2 years. Although there were many moments of disdain, sarcasm, and disrespect along the way, it was their generosity that helped me through the darkest times of my life. The wealthy fans cried and begged me to stay, throwing gifts at me, and that day set a new record for rewards. I knew I could earn more if I continued streaming, but after the stream ended, I still deleted the software. This wasn't a career I wanted to pursue long-term, and I didn't want my girlfriend to know about it. Winnifred Bailey was stunned for a second after hearing my words. She bit her lip and angrily said, "Stop throwing dirt on me. Yes, I begged you to save me, but I didn't know you were so useless that you had to make money by being a cyberduck. Just thinking about so many people seeing your body makes me feel dirty. It makes me feel disgusted." I had imagined her reaction to finding out about this many times. I thought she would be angry at me for hiding it from her and feel wronged or cry out of guilt and heartache. I never expected that the result of my 3 years of relentless effort would be summed up in the word disgusting. During those over 1,000 busy days and nights, I had often asked myself if it was worth giving everything, and the answer was always yes. But now, my previous determination seemed so foolish. I wanted to explain to her that this industry wasn't as dirty as she thought, to tell her that I never flirted with anyone privately or met anyone in person, and that my behavior in the live stream was strictly monitored and controlled. But now, none of that mattered. The person in front of me had become someone I didn't recognize. Or perhaps this was the real her that I had never known. For a moment, I felt short of breath, my heart being gnawed by 1,000 ants. "Disgusting," I repeated, sneering. "But your life was saved by this disgusting person. Your blood is bought with disgusting money. Do you think you're disgusting?" She seemed surprised that I could also speak harshly to her, staring at me in disbelief. I continued to mock her. "You really don't know how hard it is to earn money because all these years you've been living off me without earning a penny on your own. When it comes to being useless, I can't compare to you." You. Winnifred Bailey's face turned red and then white, unable to find a word to retort for a long time. Finally, she lost all patience and stated her purpose for today. "All of this was voluntary on your part. I didn't force you with a knife. In short, no girl in the world can accept her boyfriend being a duck. I want to break up." The words "break up" were said with such passion and determination, clearly not a momentary impulse. I suddenly realized that she wasn't breaking up because she couldn't accept my streaming, but she was using this as an excuse to break up with me. When someone wants to leave you, all your efforts become a crime. She had to belittle your efforts infinitely to rationalize her change of heart and make the breakup sound justified. I stared at her intently until she took 2 steps back in fear, then slowly spoke. "Fine, I agree. Sharing a bed with a white-eyed wolf. I'm also afraid of being bitten to death. But before that, pay me back the medical expenses. I've calculated it, excluding the reimbursable part. It's a total of $2,365,000. 229 yuan. When I got home, I fell ill. 3 years of exhaustion hit me all at once, and I felt dizzy, my hands and feet cold, and I collapsed onto the bed. In my dreams, Winnifred Bailey was sometimes sweet and gentle, sometimes aggressive, the past sweetness and the present ugliness tugging at my mind, giving me a splitting headache. 2 days and nights later, I was awakened by the sound of a text message. Winnifred Bailey had transferred 500,000 yuan to my account, along with a sneer. Making money isn't as hard as you say. How could someone who had never worked a day in her life come up with so much money in such a short time? I hated myself for still instinctively worrying about her safety. After slapping myself, I still couldn't help but dial that familiar number. The phone rang a few times before it was answered by a hoarse male voice. "Charl Harrison?" the voice asked. "Who are you?" The other person laughed a few times. "I'm Zayden Mitchell. We've met once before. A month ago. I saw him downstairs when Winnifred Bailey lost her phone and wallet while out for a walk, and it was this kind Mr. Mitchell who brought her back." Recalling what car Zayden Mitchell drove, I knew where the money came from. It seemed that from that day on, Winnifred Bailey had some new jewelry I had never seen before, and she started dressing up more frequently. "No wonder you were in such a hurry to break up with me. Turns out I've been a fool all along." I let out a derisive laugh and was about to hang up the phone. Just then, Zayden Mitchell spoke again. "I haven't thanked you yet for raising her to be so delicious. I really enjoyed this meal." The phone was pulled away slightly, and the sound of hurried breathing and sweet, moaning noises came from the other end. A wave of nausea surged up my throat, and I vomited uncontrollably. 8 years of relationship, gone in an instant. Zayden Mitchell was still laughing on the other end. "Mr. Harrison, to thank you for all your years of dedication, I've prepared a surprise for you." I made it to the trending searches not just once but twice. Hashtag coding by day streaming by night hashtag. Hashtag boyfriend demands huge compensation after breakup hashtag. The incident started with a post on a certain forum. The blogger claimed that her programmer boyfriend secretly worked as a borderline adult streamer and maintained improper relationships with several wealthy women. After she found out, she broke up with him in anger, but he demanded a huge financial compensation, asking for all the money he had spent on her over the years, including their shared living expenses. Issues of love and relationships between men and women are always a traffic magnet, and with someone deliberately pushing it, the story quickly spread across multiple platforms. Major marketing accounts and KOLs, key opinion leaders, heavily reposted it, quickly stirring up a wave of public opinion. Is this real-life gold-digging fiction? As expected, men are just that unrestrained. Poor girl. Better get checked out just to be safe. Men like this are filthy. Let's not even talk about the cheating. How stingy does a guy have to be to ask for money back after a breakup? If you're broke, don't pretend to be rich. This isn't a relationship. It's a money-making scheme. Why should the woman bear the shared expenses? Wouldn't the guy live even if he wasn't dating? Seeing these twisted comments, I laughed angrily. This was the gift Zayden Mitchell had given me. Just by spreading rumors, he had thousands of followers helping him attack. This world was more twisted than I had imagined. The criticism against me quickly turned into online violence. The original blogger kept saying she wanted to protect privacy and wouldn't reveal the guy's name and ID, but she intentionally leaked enough information for people to identify me. My streaming ID and real-life information were dug up and spread widely before the cyber police intervened. Many fans who once supported me had to unfollow and turn against me. My boss, who had always given me a hard time because I refused to suck up, seized the opportunity to suggest my dismissal to the higher-ups. Friends who had lent me money suddenly all found reasons to demand repayment. I paid them back one by one and blocked the person who hinted that I could sleep with him to waive the interest. Finally, my estranged biological father called just to humiliate me. "You shameless brat. You've disgraced our entire Harrison family. If I had known you'd grow up to sell yourself, I would have strangled you at birth." "Humph. Who are you pretending for?" I sneered. "No matter how bad I am, It's not your place to talk. You cheating scumbag who killed my mom." Hanging up the phone, the world returned to silence. I stood on the rooftop, feeling the wind and looking at the neon lights below. But what did I do wrong? Did giving my heart mean I deserved to be trampled on? Just when I felt abandoned by the whole world, my phone rang again. "Can we meet? I have a way to help you fight back." "Alex." I checked the room number repeatedly at the door. The charming, exotic beauty inside made me doubt my eyes. Seeing me standing there dumbfounded, the woman laughed and teased. "What? Am I that disappointing to you? How could that be?" Quickly shook my head. Her smile was so stunning that my face turned red instantly. Suppressing my heartbeat, I explained, "I just didn't expect you to be so beautiful. More beautiful than any celebrity I've seen on TV. So you think my soul is ugly?" She rolled her eyes at me, pretending to be angry. "I thought you'd be more intellectual or imposing." I honestly commented, "Didn't expect you to be a real-life Barbie doll." Alex wasn't just one of my first fans, my forever top sister, but also an unpaid, invisible workforce in my streaming room. She would come up with brilliant ideas from a woman's perspective and help me connect with suitable merchants, allowing me to earn extra money besides tips. Her phone number was left for business reasons. She once asked to add me on WeChat, but I politely declined, because Winnifred Bailey didn't allow me to add any girls on WeChat. Alex didn't mind much. She never forced me or demanded extra benefits. Many times I felt that her consistent, lavish spending in my streaming room wasn't for some late-night fantasy, but more like enjoying the fun of nurturing someone. Thus, in my mind, she was more like an intellectual, mature businesswoman. The most overstepping thing Alex ever did was to send me a private message through the platform asking if I was having any difficulties when she sensed something was off during my live stream. At that time, I was under immense pressure and needed an outlet, so I couldn't help but tell her about Winnifred Bailey's illness. Once it happened the first time, it happened again. From then on, she became my personal confidant, a place where I could vent all the troubles I couldn't share with anyone else. I didn't know her real name, what she did for a living, or what she looked like, but I knew there was a wonderful woman in this world silently supporting me. I couldn't have gotten through that dark time without her. The day I uninstalled the livestream software, I felt a sense of reluctance. Facing such an unconditionally supportive confidant, it was impossible not to feel a little moved. But at that time, I loved Winnifred Bailey too much. She was the one I wanted to spend my life with, and I was willing to cut off all other possibilities for her. Alex didn't try to persuade me to stay like others did. She simply sent her best wishes, catching everything I threw at her with her usual mature and calm demeanor. I harbored a secret I couldn't speak of, but it ended there. However, now, after experiencing betrayal, slander, and being pulled up by her once again, the spark I had ruthlessly extinguished seemed to reignite. "Barbie dolls can be both intellectual and domineering, you know?" Alex said playfully, snapping her fingers. "Underestimating a beauty can cost you dearly." "You're right, boss. You're the best." I played along, acting like a sycophant. "Still calling me by my screen name?" She extended her hand and smiled. "Let's get to know each other again. I'm Jennifer Barnes. You can call me Jennifer." "I'm Charl Harrison. By the way, is your surname Barnes the same Barnes I'm thinking of?" Jennifer Barnes shrugged helplessly. "That's right. Sigmund Barnes is my father. I'm the legendary third child of the Barnes family." Sigmund Barnes was the richest man in the country, with 2 sons and a daughter. Both sons were prominent figures in the business world, while the beloved daughter had never officially appeared in public. "Why aren't you saying anything?" Jennifer Barnes looked a bit disappointed. "Are you also scared by my identity?" "Also," she lowered her eyes and said, "because of my identity, it's been hard for me to make genuine friends since I was young. People are either too polite or too eager to please, and I don't like that. No wonder you never wanted to show your face. That identity is indeed intimidating." I smiled sincerely, "But I'd be very happy to be your friend, Jennifer." "What if I don't just want to be your friend?" Jennifer Barnes instantly shed her girlish demeanor and raised an eyebrow seductively. My heart leaped into my throat, and I asked dumbfoundedly, "What do you mean?" She didn't answer directly, just kept smiling at me until my ears turned completely red. Then she waved a business card in front of me. "I want to be your boss. Come work as an artist for our company. Eggplant Entertainment is newly founded, but it's backed by the Barnes Group." She tossed her hair confidently. "I'll make you a Hollywood superstar." Entering the entertainment industry or becoming an employee of Jennifer Barnes was something I couldn't have imagined in my previous life. After smoking 2 cigarettes in the restroom without coming to a decision, I could only return to the private room. Unexpectedly, I ran into an unwelcome guest in the hallway. Winnifred Bailey was beaming as she clung to Zayden Mitchell, but her smile froze when she saw me. "Are you stalking me?" She frowned and scolded me aggressively. "Didn't I tell you we broke up? Charl Harrison, can't you have a little self-respect?" "I'm afraid he doesn't have much self-respect left." Zayden Mitchell chuckled playfully. "Mr. Harrison, do you like the big gift I sent you? If there weren't so many cameras around, my fist would probably have flown by now. But at this moment, I didn't want to cause trouble for Jennifer Barnes." "Gift?" I pointed at Winnifred Bailey and smirked. "You mean helping me take out the trash? Then I do owe you a thank you. Without you, this little piece of trash wouldn't be able to pay back a single cent." "Trash? Garbage." Winnifred Bailey laughed angrily. "Charl Harrison, there's no need to act out of spite. I know you're upset because I left you for Zayden and it embarrassed you. But what can you compare to him?" She said aggressively. "In these 3 years, how many new clothes or bags have you bought me? Do you know how embarrassed I was when someone exposed my fake bag on the subway? But on our first date, Zayden gave me a new designer bag. 5, 8, I truly didn't remember. I only remembered that I never bought a single thing for myself." "So you're worth just a bag?" I laughed. "That's pretty cheap. This isn't about a bag. It's about the wealth gap." She rolled her eyes at me and leaned closer to Zayden Mitchell. "A wise bird chooses a good tree to nest in. Haven't you heard that saying?" "Wow, what a big bird," a female voice interjected. Jennifer Barnes saw that I hadn't returned for a while, so she came out to look for me. When she stumbled upon the scene in front of her, she immediately linked arms with me. "And why is there a beast standing next to this bird?" she said exaggeratedly. Winnifred Bailey's face twisted in anger. "Who are you, lady? What does our conversation have to do with you?" Jennifer Barnes blinked innocently. "Of course, it has something to do with me if you're talking to my boyfriend." She tiptoed and gently touched my face. "Honey, you didn't get scared by this fierce-talking lady, did you? Step back a bit or you might catch bird flu." Winnifred Bailey was livid, impatiently elbowing Zayden Mitchell beside her. "Zayden, say something. Are you just going to watch me get bullied by this wretched woman?" Zayden Mitchell's mouth was agape since Jennifer Barnes appeared. It wasn't until Winnifred Bailey elbowed him that he snapped back to reality. With a smack, Winnifred Bailey was slapped to the ground by Zayden Mitchell. "Did you hit the wrong person?" Winnifred Bailey covered her face, incredulous. "Shut up, you idiot." Zayden Mitchell kicked her, then turned to Jennifer Barnes with a forced smile. "Ms. Barnes, I'm sorry. I didn't recognize Mr. Harrison earlier and offended him. I'm here to apologize to both of you. I'll cover all your expenses for today." Jennifer Barnes had never appeared in public, but that didn't mean these second-generation rich kids didn't recognize her. Zayden Mitchell was bad but not stupid. There was no way he would offend the Barnes family for a canary, risking his own family's business. Jennifer Barnes didn't even look at him and lightly laughed to me. It seems any random cat or dog thinks they can treat the Barnes family to a meal. Seeing that she was unmoved, Zayden Mitchell gritted his teeth and knelt down, slapping himself while cursing himself as a beast. "Let's get some fresh air. This is disgusting." Ignoring him, Jennifer Barnes took my hand and walked outside. I followed her numbly, the sound of 2 people arguing echoing behind us. "Zayden, what's wrong with you? Are you possessed?" "Shut up, you wretched woman. Money grubber. Jinx." Zayden Mitchell knew things wouldn't end well today. He was furious and slapped her a few more times. Winnifred Bailey had grown arrogant over the years with my pampering. Realizing Zayden Mitchell had no affection left for her, she started to fight back. You think you can treat me like a granddaughter just because I haven't shown my temper? Coward. 3-second man. I hadn't expected Winnifred Bailey to have such a rich vocabulary. I couldn't help but glance back. The two were already wrestling, and the waitstaff stood helplessly nearby, unable to intervene. Once we were alone, Jennifer Barnes let go of my hand. How did I do? She asked, leaning against the railing with a mischievous smile. I praised her. If Jennifer entered the entertainment industry, she could win an award even without relying on her family or looks. Jennifer Barnes' eyes curved into a smile. Zayden Mitchell's wife is filing for divorce. I think today's surveillance footage will help him leave with nothing. Do you feel avenged? Halfway, I said. I'm no saint. Seeing my enemy kneeling and slapping himself, the person who betrayed me being abandoned and trampled, those who use money and power to humiliate others finally kneeling before greater wealth and power. It's a lie to say it doesn't feel good. But all of this is thanks to Jennifer Barnes, or more precisely, the Barnes family. It's still the same money-first logic winning. I'm still a small, defeated person. This revenge isn't as satisfying. I think you've already decided. Smart as she is, Jennifer Barnes had guessed my answer. When confused by something, first attain it. I couldn't help but ask her, but why me? I'm not bad-looking, but I'm not drop-dead gorgeous. Plus, I'm currently surrounded by scandals. Boosting me isn't easy. Because you're my friend. Jennifer Barnes said it as if it were as obvious as needing an umbrella in the rain. That's it. I still couldn't believe my luck. I trust your character, and I believe in your charm. She playfully winked. And I hope you trust my judgment and my methods. Under the moonlight, Jennifer Barnes smiled proudly. The sea breeze lifted her long hair, captivating my gaze. I heard my heart pounding wildly, and I was enchanted to say, I believe. Overnight, my online image underwent a complete transformation. #heroic boyfriend #, modern saint #. 2 new hashtags replaced the old trending topics. Jennifer Barnes hired someone to ghostwrite a heartfelt essay for me and spent a lot of money on marketing and trending placements, revealing the truth of the matter. With solid evidence, the netizens who had criticized me yesterday seemed to have overnight amnesia, now showering me with praise. Even if I'm asleep in the middle of the night, I have to wake up and slap myself. I truly deserve it. How is this a scumbag? This is a saint. If a man did this for me, I would marry him without hesitation rather than expose him online. That woman deliberately called the over $2 million treatment fee a living expense just to make everyone attack the male lead. Modern-day farmer and the snake. Mr. Dongwa and the wolf. By the way, his body is amazing. So many guys in the summer show their beer bellies and no one cares. But when a handsome guy shows his abs, he gets scolded. Exactly. And we girls aren't allowed to enjoy some eye candy. Seeing the passers-by change their tune, my old livestream fans also started to speak up. My livestream ID is Can't Sleep, and my fans like to call me Sleep Bro. Great. My house didn't collapse. Sleep Bro forever. By the way, when are you coming back to livestream? Sleep Bro? I can't sleep without your streams. Sleep Bro returned all the gifts after his farewell stream. If he was greedy, how could he have done that? We used to ask Sleep Bro why he started streaming, and he never said. Turns out it was to save his girlfriend. So touching. Such a devoted man. At the peak of the public opinion frenzy, Eggplant Entertainment's official account posted an update. Welcome Charl Harrison, Can't Sleep, to Eggplant Entertainment. Attached were 9 grid photos personally taken by Jennifer Barnes. The netizens went wild. Finally, we get to see Sleep Bro's full face. So handsome. So handsome. Wearing a mask was sealing away his beauty. Those who said he'd look terrible without the mask, come out and get slapped. Husband. I declare you my new husband. Thank you, Winnifred, for not marrying him. Now I'm Sleep Bro's new wife. New wife +1, +2, +5,200. Watching the numbers grow crazily, I felt calm inside. These casual affections would scatter without a breeze. But the one who believed in me unconditionally during my lowest point is the only one truly precious. Skirting the edge is disgraceful, but when it has a touching and morally valuable story behind it, the impact of the dramatic reversal far exceeds that of a simple good deed. Turning crisis into opportunity, leveraging it to create momentum. In this era where traffic is king, Jennifer Barnes effortlessly made my debut night a media sensation. Jennifer believed in me, and I repaid her with all my might. In just 3 years, I went from an unknown to a top-tier movie star. To become a superstar, one needs top resources, hard work, and talent. And often, when you have the first two, the third reveals itself. In acting, I found my life's talent and unprecedented fulfillment. With it came fame and fortune. A well-known actor once said, "Don't blame the lack of good people around you. Once you're famous, everyone around you will be good." Indeed, after becoming famous, I've never faced cold shoulders again. Those who once trampled on me and abandoned me in my low times now cling to me. The more they grovel for benefits, the more disgusted I feel. That includes my dad and Winnifred Bailey. I met Winnifred Bailey again at a drinking party. After a few rounds, the main business was mostly discussed, and it was time for the unspoken segment. The producer coughed twice and said the next film had many contenders for the 2 supporting female roles, and he wanted the bosses to help judge them later. "Aren't the roles already decided?" someone asked. The producer smirked. "We said they'd get a chance to audition, but didn't promise they'd be chosen. Whether they can defy fate depends on how well they please you all." Unspoken rules are common in the entertainment industry. Those with strong qualifications and means can climb to the top along this path. But many end up as cannon fodder, used and discarded without gaining good resources. The assistant director openly added some stimulating substances to the drinks. A group of scantily clad beautiful women filed in. They skillfully took their seats, soon becoming boneless as they found their places. The tacky outfits, sweet flirtations, and pungent perfumes all made me nauseous. In the deliberately dimmed lighting, some had already started groping. I wasn't interested in any of this and wanted to find an excuse to slip away when someone next to me called my name. Charl Harrison. The voice was familiar, but the face was somewhat strange. She stared at a silicone face hard to recognize and said, "I'm Winnifred Bailey." The summer after the college entrance exams, I worked for my uncle's collection company to earn tuition fees. The first job ended in failure, because with just one glance, I fell in love with the debtor's daughter, a girl in a white dress. She hid behind her father, trembling. When I raised my voice slightly to scare them, tears fell like raindrops, like a little white flower standing alone in the storm. So pitiful. I willingly shielded this flower, and it lasted 8 years. But now, not only had our relationship changed beyond recognition, but she also bore no resemblance to her former self, from her face to her demeanor. After falling out with Zayden Mitchell, she quickly found a new man to rely on. She lived comfortably as a kept woman but was too greedy. She tried to secretly get pregnant to secure her position, only to be beaten to miscarriage by the man's legitimate wife. The rich hate trouble the most, and once this news spread in the circle, men began to avoid her. But terms like self-reliant and down-to-earth were like fairy tales to Winnifred Bailey, who had been pampered all her life. At this moment, she thought of me, who was doing quite well in the entertainment industry. She tried every means to get close to me, telling me how hard her life had been. She said she had been punished and hoped I could forgive her immaturity and rekindle our old relationship. I told her to stop dreaming. Even if someone pointed a gun at me, I wouldn't go back to her. She then said she wanted to enter the entertainment industry. If I didn't agree to get back together, at least I should help her find some resources considering how much money she owed me, so she could repay her debts sooner. This time, I didn't even bother to say a word and blocked her on all platforms. I didn't expect that the next time we met, she had fallen to such a low point. "Oh, does this chick know our Charl Harrison?" Mr. Rogers beside me teased. No. I spoke before Winnifred Bailey could. There are people trying to cling to connections every day. True. Mr. Rogers laughed knowingly. Charl Harrison has snagged a real phoenix now. It's normal he wouldn't look at these wild chickens. The word wild chicken made Winnifred Bailey's eyes tremble, and she lowered her head in shame. She had endured too many beatings over the years and was no longer the same Winnifred Bailey who would fight Zayden Mitchell head-on. Now she not only had to endure but had to endure with a smile. When she looked up again, she had masked her resentment and put on a charming smile. Winnifred Bailey took the opportunity of toasting to lean towards me. I'm sorry for being so ignorant before. Let me apologize with this drink. No need. I took the glass from her hand and pushed her away without mercy. Then, I stood up, and amidst everyone's shocked expressions, I smiled and raised the glass over Winnifred Bailey's head, slowly tilting it. The purple-red liquid flowed down, extinguishing all her dignity and hope. I whispered, I find it dirty. Struck by the boomerang from years ago, Winnifred Bailey's face twisted bit by bit until she could no longer bear the pain and knelt on the ground, wailing. Guess who I am? Soft hands covered my eyes from behind, and someone playfully asked, I've had a bit to drink, not turned stupid. I laughed and said, Such a lovely voice. Who else but our dear Jennifer? Jennifer Barnes seemed satisfied with my answer and graciously let me see the light again. What brings you here? I teased, holding her in my arms. The big boss coming to be my driver. I'm afraid I'll lose years of my life. Just inspecting your work. She fanned away the mix of perfume and alcohol sent from me, sneering, Your old flame didn't serve you well? Out so soon. Spare me. I raised 3 fingers, swearing. Seeing her only makes me want to puke. Besides, once you've seen the moon, how could you be attracted to the pebbles on the ground? Smooth talker. Jennifer Barnes laughed and pushed my approaching face away. Don't think about getting close until you've showered twice and rinsed your mouth 3 times. Can we shower together? Pervert. On the day I held my first Best Actor trophy, Jennifer Barnes and I got together. I said, I finally have the right to stand by your side. I've worked 3 years for this day. She smiled and shook her head. Even when you had nothing, you were the most qualified. I asked that silly question again. Why me? Why from the beginning, when I was just an unknown fringe streamer, were you so determined to be good to me? She touched the scar on my hand and asked instead, Do you remember how you got it? Fighting off a thug? I recalled. In college, I was queuing for buns off campus, and a girl in front of me had her bag snatched. I rushed out. She laughed. I was the unlucky girl whose bag got snatched. That doesn't make sense. I was puzzled. Such a pretty girl. I couldn't have not noticed. Hee hee. Jennifer Barnes glanced at me, half smiling. Because back then, you were all about your girlfriend. Wouldn't even glance at other girls. Wouldn't add them on WeChat. I was wrong. I bent 2 fingers, mimicking a sliding kneel in acknowledgement. Jennifer Barnes was amused by me and continued, I thought you were handsome and righteous, perfect to be my boyfriend. But you were taken, so I didn't pursue it. Luckily, later I stumbled upon your live stream, and I recognized that scar right away. I guessed you must be in some trouble and wanted to help. Then I found out you were working so hard to pay for your girlfriend's treatment. I thought you were deeply affectionate and responsible, and liked you even more. She spoke more and more bitterly, but sometimes I would think if she couldn't be cured, such a good boyfriend would belong to me. Am I very dark? Don't talk about yourself that way. I held her hand and kissed it gently. If it weren't for your selfless help, I wouldn't have been able to gather the medical expenses so quickly, and her illness wouldn't have been cured. Jennifer, you are amazing, I said. After she betrayed me, I was in a really bad place for a while. I couldn't understand why fate would punish a good person, or why giving my heart to someone was such a mistake. But when you said you noticed me so early on, I suddenly understood. There was nothing wrong with being sincere. The problem was her as a person. and experiencing that mistake was so I could meet someone as wonderful as you. If I hadn't queued up to buy buns for Winnifred Bailey, hadn't been forced to become a streamer to pay for her treatment, and hadn't been vilified because of her, perhaps Jennifer Barnes and I would never have come together. In this world of indulgence and luxury, I once thought, like everyone else, that money and power could rule everything. But this woman told me that what she loved was the me who had nothing but passion and sincerity. She made me believe in myself again, and believe in this world. Being the son-in-law of the Barnes family is no easy feat. As soon as our relationship went public, titles like kept man, freeloader, and resource dependent were thrown at me, but I didn't care. I had a rich and capable wife who was willing to invest resources in me, and that was an undeniable fact. Other than steadily performing well in every role and proving that I was worthy of any resource, there was nothing more I could or needed to do. Later, I won my second, third, and fourth Best Actor awards, and the voices of doubt gradually disappeared. Later still, I became an international movie star and won an Oscar, and people began to praise the Barnes family's investment foresight. On the day I received the Lifetime Achievement Award, Jennifer Barnes, now a grandmother, sat in the audience holding our granddaughter. Wrinkles had appeared on her face, but in my heart, she was as beautiful as the day we first met. I said, I have been very happy in this life. This happiness doesn't come from money or awards, but from having someone who has always stood by my side, understanding me, believing in me, and supporting me no matter the highs or lows, no matter what I do. I will always love her, just as she loves me. Thunderous applause erupted from the audience.